Today's event is what we call the Governor's Export Summit. This is the first time that we're doing an event like this. We have in the past done similar events. What's unique about this event is that we, instead of just doing presentations in a conference or seminar setting, we are using what we call the one-on-one setting. So companies from Mississippi interested in exporting, or companies that are already exporting that want to expand their business abroad, are meeting one-on-one with facilitators in international business. These facilitators go all the way from freight forwarders to banking, finance, marketing, web designing, and an array of facilitators, even translation, and including government officials or government entities that are practicing the international trade arena. We are here to give resources and to offer resources and let the companies know in Mississippi what's available for them to export and make it a little easier for them.
Why has Mississippi been so successful in the export business already?
It's just hard work. We are people who show up on time, we give a good day's work, we make a really good product, and that's what people overseas are looking for. We have a great ability to deliver it on time, and then we have customer service. And so those are the things that work not only here at home, but around the world.
What types of things are they doing here today?
So we have different activities around this event. The first event happening right now is what we call the one-on-one with the facilitators and the companies. So facilitators and exporters getting together, meeting one-on-one. Every 20 minutes we rotate from one facilitator to the next. After this, we have been doing this for a couple hours already, so it's going to be around 3 hours. After here, we're going to go into the luncheon. In the luncheon, we're going to hear from 3 different presentations. One will be about the funding availability for companies in the state for international trade, available through the International Trade Office and the STEP grant. The other presentation will be a testimonial from an exporter in Mississippi that we have assisted and worked with. That he's going to share his pretty much his experience with international trade, success and challenges. And then our governor is going to give remarks on the important and impact of international trade and exporting for the state, because when companies export and they increase their sales, then they have to hire more people. So we create new jobs for the state through international trade, and we also retain jobs because of international trade and exporting.
What are the current goals for Mississippi to get to in international trade?
Actually, we have been doing international trade for over 35 years. Our office has been in place for many, many years. We are more active than we've ever been because of different reasons. One of them, of course, is additional funding through the STEP grant that we pass directly to the companies. So we have a traffic of companies higher than we have in the past because they're able to travel abroad and do marketing with those funds that we have through the STEP grant. We also have gotten very creative in markets where we need to be in taking delegations to do business, markets that were not as well known in the past that are now because their economies are growing, their middle class is growing, and also in consuming, of course. And by consuming, you have a lot more exports being produced, and also because of the free trade agreements that the U.S. has in place with many, many countries around the world. In 2003, BioSol Enhancers began developing its SumaGrow products. After 3 years of informal testing, 3 more years of extensive greenhouse testing, and testing on more than 200 outdoor test plots, SumaGrow hit the market in 2010. Since that time, BioSol Enhancers, SumaGrow, has been used on thousands of farms under real-world conditions. Its award-winning microbial technology increases crop quality and yields while decreasing chemical fertilizer inputs. In 2014, the company was ranked second on the Inc. 500 list of fastest-growing U.S. companies for the state of Mississippi, and number 4 overall for manufacturing. Inc. 500 also ranked BioSol Enhancers number 297 out of the top 5,000 companies in the U.S. BioSol is exporting to more than 50 countries around the world. Their most recent achievement, Governor's Excellence in Exporting Award for 2014. Now, isn't this a great story? And right here in Mississippi. Now, here's the best part. The best part I have today is to introduce to you the leader of BioSol Enhancers, Wayne Wade, a visionary and humble and super energetic individual, truly committed not only to his community, to his company and team, but also to the state of Mississippi. A businessman with whom I had the pleasure to work with, travel with around the globe, and most importantly, share our common love and passion for Mississippi. Please help me welcome Wayne Wade.
I guess before I go forward too far, I'll talk just a little bit about the past, okay? Because the one thing I've learned in life is this: it's not where we come from so much, it's not even where we are, but it's what we're becoming. That's what to me success in life is all about. It's what each of us are becoming. Because every person in this room has one God-given gift that no one else has. It's yours. Whether we use it, okay, and whether we invest it, it's up to each of us. And so we'll start with this. A few years ago, before 2003, okay, we had a pretty successful business. My partner, and I'd like to introduce my partner, Lou Elwell. Okay, would you wave, please? Okay. And our Director of Regulations, Sean, would you raise your hand? Our Director of International Development is sick today, and she was not able to come. But going back to where I started, in the early days, we used to grow microbial products for waste remediation. We had in fact, we had exactly 47 franchises in some 37 states. That was very difficult to build, very tough. Working in the franchise environment is not easy. And so we were doing pretty well, and we thought we kind of had it there, and we were getting to a place where maybe we can be comfortable. And then along came Katrina. Katrina took our building roof. It damaged it to the extent that we could no longer grow microbes. We lost our business, we lost our clients, and we had some really serious decisions to make at that time. Do we fold a towel, throw it in, suck it in, and go forward? Well, prior to that, as Rose said, we had started our first field test in 2003 because we noticed sometimes when we were working with some minor oil spills or something that when we cleaned it up, we noticed a flush green growth of grass. And we had to stop and think. So if we're working with a waste treatment plant, and if we're working with proteins and breaking proteins into amino acids, or we're working with carbohydrates and breaking the carbohydrates into simple sugars, what's going on in the soil? It's got to be the same mechanics. Different microbes, same mechanics. So we made a trip to work with one of our scientists that we had been working with for many years, and in fact in Michigan. He had helped us develop products for remediation and some other things that we were doing. But I spent 3 days with him, and we talked. He said, "Wayne, what do you want to accomplish?" I said, what we really want to accomplish is we want to make a product to enhance the soil. We want to use our microbes and our ability to grow products, these type of products, okay, to help farmers and work with farmers. He said, "But what do you want to accomplish? What does that mean?" I said, "Well, first we have to be able to increase yields, because if we don't increase yields, the farmers are going to throw us off. Not going to work." I said, "We need better water holding capacity, because I believe water is one of our great assets today that's in peril." We wanted a faster maturity rate if we could get it. We wanted definitely, okay, to be able to reduce inputs, to reduce fertilizers, NPKs. We're not against NPKs, okay, but we do know that they're widely overused. And you don't have to look any further than the mouth of the Mississippi River, where we have one of the greatest dead zones in the world, to figure that one out. So at the end of that third day, at the second day, he came to me and said, "Let me make some phone calls tonight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow." Well, I kind of dreaded tomorrow. So we got back together, and he came to me and he said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll help you But you've got to, if you're willing to move this scientist from Guyana here to Michigan to work with me, I need her 3 years. I said, what's it going to cost me? He said, well, a couple of hundred, maybe a little more every year. I said, you got to be kidding. I didn't know where I was going to get $2,000, much less $200,000 at the time, because, man, we was broke. So I come back, and Lou and I put our heads together, and we decided, you know, we'll figure it out, we'll do it. So signed the agreement, and we went to work. So what I did, I took the front porch of my house, converted it to an office, kept one of our original scientists, and it required that she drive from the Gulf Coast and back every single day and be there about daylight. Big commitment. I kept a couple of the other guys there for a little while, and we spent one of the longest, hottest summers in our life doing over 200 test plots. But this was a double-blind study. We had no idea which was which or what was what. So I told Lou, I said, Lou, we got to have more money. I can't raise money and do this. You're going to have to find some somewhere. He said, where? I said, I don't care. Just get it. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you've been there and you've done this. Because that's really what it's about, right? But I'll fast forward that a little bit. This was a double-blind study, and pretty soon we could see the difference, all right? A major difference. And I told Lou, I said, just drive the potentials through here. You bring the bears through the cabin and I'll skin them. So we get people out to these test plots and show them what was going on, and Lou would talk them out of a few more dollars. And we could keep going. I'll fast forward another year or two, and we're still working and going, you know. I mortgaged the farm, the house, the property, truck a couple of times, you know. And you go back to getting paid. Now, what's it worth? How big is your belief? And so it has to be big and your commitment strong. But I'm telling you, people talk about, well, you know, what were you getting paid? We were talking on the way up here. Our first checks were minus salaries. They weren't checks. They were minus salaries. A few years later, we were able to have no salary. You know, you make sure your employees get paid, but you don't. But you're not having to borrow money every time.
Next, I would like to talk to you about some of the resources available to you, the companies. And especially, I would like to show you where the money is. This is a part of my job I love the most, I'll tell you. Being Santa Claus all year long. I cannot do it at home with my child, but I can do it with y'all. It's actually awesome to be able to pass funds directly to companies that qualify for our STEP grant. And I will be talking in a minute and very quickly, but please, if you don't get all the information you need today, because by the time my boss, the governor, arrives, I need to finish what I'm saying, introduce him, because you want to hear what he has to say. But we are here. You know our phone number and emails, so please call us and let us know what kind of information you need in case we don't get to all the details today. But the bottom line is the STEP grant is an amazing program. But we must compete with 50 other states and the U.S. territories annually. We have been fortunate, though, that we have been awarded this grant every year since its beginning in 2011. So we are now in the process of applying for the year 4 of STEP. This is for qualifying companies and small, medium-sized companies, which I can tell you, all of you in this room pretty much do. And 2015-2016 is coming up, May the 20th. So we are working on that right now. We hope to be awarded another round so we can share it with you, our Mississippi companies. So let's get started. Okay, so where is the money? Where is the assistance? These are a few tips that I can tell you after many years in this field. So let's talk about quickly why is importing or exporting important. Okay, it provides, I think Wayne had gone over all this already. It provides economic growth and sustainability. It's positive environment for employees and companies' benefits, and it enhances our workforce here. Plus, if I was to ask you, what do you think is the percentage of consumers outside of the U.S.? Now, if you know the answer, please don't say it. But give me a percentage. Anybody? Consumers outside of the U.S., what's the percentage of it? 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%? What is it? 80? You close, but still higher than that. 96 or 97% of the world's consumer. So now think about it for a minute. So you must diversify if you have a product that has potential overseas. Okay, so what are some of the challenges? Because I will tell you it's not easy. It's possible, but it's not easy, and it takes time, okay? So patience and determination, commitment are key for this process. So fear of the unknown. What? Vietnam? Come on, Peru? I don't speak the language. How do I do it? How do I ship it? How do I get paid, right? Documentation. Oh, my goodness. Certificate of origin? What the heck is that? How do I do that? Who's going to complete it? What if I go to jail if I don't do it correctly? Blah, blah, blah. So, as you can imagine, it's kind of scary. Marketing? How do I do marketing in another language on the other side of the world? How do I get paid? I want my money now because once it's out of the U.S., I tell you what, forget it. You won't collect unless you already have it. Or that person has pretty good experience and good credit and you get it. But once it's out of here, you have no control of it, okay? So how do we do that? What about time and resources, commitment to those things? Because you have already a domestic market here. How am I going to do 95% of the world, 96, 97% of the world out there that needs my products and I want to ship there too when I'm already doing my domestic? Do I need to hire another person to do my international? Do I need to hire a consultant? How do I do this? Okay, so here are a few steps quickly. Assess the export potential for your firm. And we have facilitators here you already met that we can help you assess the potential. Now, exporting is not for everybody. If you have a product that is in high demand overseas or a service, then you can do it. But they're going to be products that are not exportable, okay? And we need to be honest with you about it and realistic with you about it. So we will tell you. Obtain expert counseling. Over here in this room, we have plenty of it. Select the markets. Do I want a free trade agreement market? Do I want a market that has lots of crops and agriculture? Do I want a market that is similar to the U.S.? That all depends on your product. That depends on your strategy. Formulate an export strategy, okay? Now, that I will tell you comes while you go through the process. It's not, oh, I got it. I want to do this, this, and that. Boom. No. It happens over time. But I can tell you, we are there every step of the way, or we will refer you to the experts in each subject or issue you have.
Thank you, Rose. Now, Rose, you may notice, is not from around here. But she did go to school at the University of Southern Mississippi. So we know she got a good education. She's been doing a remarkable job. It's really a lot of fun to be with Rose in some place like Tel Aviv. Because I got Rose going, and then I've got Ofer Avaran, who's got a very heavy Israeli accent, which is only noticeable to those of us that don't. And so you can imagine, here I am, from Morehead, Mississippi, trying to figure out what both of these are saying. But what I do understand is they were both talking about business. They're both talking about exports. And so Mississippi, as we began to move to that new level, and have no doubt we are, as I travel around the world, as we have people from around the world coming to Mississippi, there is definitely a different attitude about what we're doing in business and how we're going about doing it. I'll show you some numbers in just a moment. Exports. If you're going to move to the new level of where we want to be, you have to have a very robust and successful ability to export your products. Now that means first you got to have a really good product. One of the things that I have found out, and I tell people I'm a salesman, I work on commission. One of the things that I have found out is people will not buy bad products, even in China. You can't sell it. You can probably sell it once, guys, y'all know, but the second time, So we got some really great products. One of the reasons that we've been successful, we've got great products. And you got to have a way of getting it there. Got to be able to ship it, get it there from your factory, have a transportation system, have some really good companies. It was pretty amazing. We had just the other day the CEO of UPS here from Mississippi talking about how he started loading trucks in Greenwood, Mississippi, and worked his way up to be head of the global UPS. And then we've got that little company up there near Memphis. What's that? That's called FedEx. Yeah, and we think the head of FedEx is sort of a Mississippian. He's close enough. Memphis is the largest city in Mississippi, so we know that he's close enough to be one of us. So we know how to get things there. We know how to distribute them. We have a system of our great ports, air, rail. We've got to work hard at improving some of those, but we can get them over there. We can certainly help get that done. And then it's relationships. Sometimes good salesmen, you got to have somebody over there that speaks the language, that knows the people, that can hustle. Got to have a good salesperson. And then building relationships with those companies. Y'all know these things, but every time I've seen a company embrace those simple factors, it works. And pretty soon they begin to sell their products overseas. Now, Rose talked to you a little bit about what we've been able to do. And we're very proud of the fact that we have helped create 17,000 jobs. Y'all create those jobs. We just create an environment where it's easier and more productive for you to be able to do that. And one of the reasons we've been able to do it is private sector investment, $2.4 billion. Mississippi in 2012, for the first time ever, reached $100 billion GDP. $100 billion GDP. That was the first step onto that new level. And so this shows you how rapidly we have been moving and the good things that have been happening. Why? Well, just look at some of the ways that we are graded. Now, when I was in the private sector, we had a program called PIP, and it was performance-based, and it was the strangest thing would happen. The more I would work, the more successful I was, the more money I made. And Deborah found out I'd get a bonus if I worked really hard. And so she just would remind me of that almost every week. We really need that PIP check. You know, we need that PIP check. And so we like to grade things. I've been graded all my life. And so I like to see how we are doing. Let's see how we're doing. We're in the top 10 states for doing business. That's Area Development Magazine, not the Phil Bryant organization, not the governor's office, but Area Development Magazine, which is made up of people who do just that. They send their site selectors around and say, what is the best state that has the best environment? And let's rate them 1 to 50. And y'all always heard that, we're the worst in every category, right? Well, not in Area Development Magazine, we're in the top 10. Really good to have a top 10 football team, but that goes away pretty quickly, didn't it? We're in the top 10 for economic development. Why? We're number 4 for the most tax-friendly state in America. That's Kiplinger. They know a little bit about tax structure. They say we are number 4 in America for the most friendly. I've cut taxes 41 times since I've been governor. 41 times. It's a little over 3.5 years. That's why we're where we're at. And this is the one I love. Mississippi ranks number 5 in growth of women-owned businesses. American Express. And I would just dare to guess American Express knows something about the spending habits of women and men. But American Express said, we want to find out because we want to get these women, these business women, these entrepreneurs to borrow money from us to start their small businesses. And where's a really good place to start? Well, number 5 in the nation is Mississippi. That's not the national narrative, is it? Oh, no, ladies. Folks in the New York Times editorial room believe we have y'all chained to wood-burning stoves down here. You're number 5 in the nation. Thank you, ladies, for creating jobs and growing your businesses.
What can other states learn from Mississippi about this?
Well, I think they're learning to keep your tax structure low, to keep your cost of doing business low in your particular state. Have a very robust transportation system, whether it's rail, air, or ship. Make sure that your ports are deep and in order. But more importantly, make sure that you have a system that reaches out to these countries, because it's all about relationships. And as we develop relationships with national, international leaders, we sell more products to their people. It's as simply as that.
And where can companies find out about the resources that are available to them?
Our office is really a one-stop shop. We handle every issue of international trade. We refer to the companies, to the experts in each of the perhaps topics, finance and shipping and stuff like that. But our staff is very knowledgeable of who to refer them to and what kind of resources the companies have to go internationally. In addition to that, the staff is regionally assigned around the world, so each of the trade managers has a region in the world. We have one for Canada, one for the Caribbean and Latin America, one for Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, and another one for Asia. In addition to that, we have the foreign reps for MDA in Korea, Japan, Europe, South America, and China.
And what type of goals do you have for next year to go up in the ranks?
Yeah, well, if you look now, we're, of course, number 4, the growth of exports. I'd like to see us be number 1. I think you're going to see some number 1 ratings. We've grown 380% in our exports over the last decade. That's a remarkable number. And so now we're adding music and arts to that, so we can export the movies that we manufacture. We can export the music that is made here. That's going to be another large amount of export funding with the talent that we have here in Mississippi. I think you're going to see those numbers go up.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to add the events that we have coming up. We have several business development missions where we do a little bit of what is happening here one-on-one, but this will be one-on-one meetings between the Mississippi companies and the buyers abroad, or the distributors or potential partners. So we connect them. We are the bridge between our companies here and the buyers on the other side of the world. We have several trips coming up, several trade shows coming up, and we'll be sharing our calendar of events where we're going with delegations during lunch. That's part of the presentation as well. We are heading to Europe soon. We're also heading to South America and Central America, Canada, Korea, and Japan. So we have around 10 of those business development trips and trade shows that we do a year. Companies are encouraged to participate because we really have the funding available. They qualify for the STEP grant, and we have the resources and the network contacts abroad to really connect them with the buyers.
How difficult is the process to connect?
You know, it's not that difficult. It does take a little time. International trade is not something that happens overnight. You have to build those relationships across the world, but that's what we're here for. So we can do the connections for the companies in Mississippi. And we have been doing this for a long time, so we have a large network of contacts and the connections that they can utilize. So it's just patience and determination, because it is rewarding and very profitable, and 95% of the consumers in this world are outside of the U.S. So companies must diversify and export if they have a product, of course, that is in demand overseas.